AITA for abandoning my mill in a parking lot full of watching people? I am not the original poster. That is you, AITA throwaway 265. She posted in r, am I the asshole? Mood spoiler. Happy ending. Less than. Original post. November 17th, 2022. I, F26. I'm a Psalm and I pick up my daughter after school. My husband, M35, takes her to school in the mornings on the way to his work. Mill got divorced a couple months ago and not so subtly complained to my husband that she was lonely. So my husband insisted that we have her over every weekend. Mill and I don't get along. For example, Mill has always made snide remarks about me being a teenage mom, but I learned to ignore it since my husband asked me to keep the peace. When she began coming over, she would make comments about how dusty the floor was, how much laundry was in the basket, etc., hinting that I should be doing more housework as a Psalm. The final straw was when she commented about our daughter's academic abilities, saying stuff about how she's below standard academic level and blaming me for not putting in the effort to teach her. After a big argument, my husband finally agreed that only he would visit Mill at her home. Mill and I haven't spoken to each other since. MIL's catalytic converter got stolen yesterday and hasn't gotten fixed yet. My husband drove her to work this morning and asked me to pick her up. I said no. Mill works fairly close to our daughter's school, about a 15-minute walk. In the middle of the day, my husband sends me a text saying that he convinced Mill to walk to our daughter's school so I can pick up both of them. I arrive at my daughter's school and see Mill with daughter. I walk up to them and tell Mill that she can find a way home, that I'm not going to give her a lift. She started to create a scene and the other parents and children were starting to stare. So I took my daughter by the hand and drove away. Husband yelled at me when he got home, saying that I embarrassed Mill in front of the other parents and left her stranded when I could have easily driven her home. It really wouldn't have been much work to drive her home one time, and I'm regretting causing a scene at my daughter's school because her classmates and their parents might have seen it. AITA? Relevant comments. Is your husband the biological father? He is the biological father. I had her when I was 19. I agreed to keep the peace with Mill because my husband always let me know that he was on my side. Obviously, he doesn't see anything wrong with my age. Your kid is going to have to deal with the fallout, gossip. This is my biggest regret about the whole situation. But my daughter is in first grade and I was hoping that it wouldn't be a big deal considering how young they are. In hindsight, I should have had the maturity to deal with the situation somewhere else. Oop is voted Esh. Everyone sucks here. Update post. January 23, 2024. 1 year. 2 months later. Hi Reddit. Sorry this update took so long. But I just signed the last of the divorce papers and wanted to share with this sub. I took the top comments advice and tried to have a conversation with my ex-husband and his mother. But they both just yelled at me and would not listen to anything I said. My ex-husband even went back on his agreement to not invite her over apparently. This was my punishment for disobeying him and embarrassing his mother. For a few months, I stayed with my best friend on the weekends, and she convinced me to divorce him. But because I was a Psalm, I needed a steady source of income. Early 2023, we started a candle making business on Etsy. It was really rough the first few months, but we began to gain traction and I finally told my ex that I wanted a divorce after I felt financially stable. He said no. But I had already worked everything out with my lawyer. After I sent him the papers, he and his mother began harassing me and he said that he would agree to the divorce only if I gave up full custody of my daughter. Long story short, this ended up in us going to court, and I now have full custody. My best friend is the real hero of this entire story. She let me stay over for free throughout the proceedings and helped me care for my daughter. With the alimony and the money I made from the candle making business, I officially moved in with my best friend and began paying her rent. 2. I'm currently saving up to buy a place of my own. My daughter and I are really happy right now. And I can't believe that I didn't see how toxic my ex and his mother were for the 7 years we were married. I hope this is enough drama for the rest of my life. And thanks to all the people in my DMs who showed me how toxic my relationship was. Ah yes. She's to blame for being a teenage mother. Not her 9 years older husband who got a teenager pregnant. MMHM. Punishment for disobeying him. This is why a huge age gap is problematic when a young adult, well, barely an adult, is involved with someone so much older. He didn't see her as an equal. Edit. Typo. I hate my phone. Mill really blamed Op for teenage pregnancy, but her son was 28 years old. Make it make sense. Also, there must have been other things going on for Op to win full custody of her child. Must be one hell of a candle business. If selling candles on Etsy is financial stability, hopefully that alimony check is a big ol' fatty. Mill from hell, do you know it takes 2 person to make a baby? Blame your adult son who thought it is okay to have a child with a 19 years old instead of letting her to live her youth. I'm glad her best friend was there for her and that she was able to exit that awful situation. Mill has always made snide remarks about me being a teenage mom, but I learned to ignore it since my husband asked me to keep the peace. I assume no such request was made to mom. It seems keep the peace is code for accept whatever abuse is dished out to you and smile. The comments on the OG post rightfully ripped into husband's mom for the comments of Op being a teenage mom when it was her son who impregnated Op at 19 when he was 28. Edit. Got the ages wrong, plus the formulation was weird. That age gap at her age, ooff. They almost had me. Then they got to the part with a candle making business and it went to off the rails. Candle making on Etsy, shining a light to show the way to freedom. She should have thought about catalytic converter theft before being verbally abusive, lol. But seriously, it sounds petty as hell. But I don't think Op was ever in the wrong. The husband was completely under his mommy's thumb. As becomes clear in the update, she abused his wife and kids. And he refused to set proper boundaries or even shut her down. What on earth gives him the right to expect Op and his daughter to be one-on-one with Mill? Even for a short car ride? Op put her foot down, set her own boundary, and found out her husband wasn't on her side at all. Good on her. Well, that escalated quickly. He said no. Lol, it wasn't a question, mate. How did she get full custody? There's something not being shared here. He said no. That's not how divorce papers work. Dude was 28 and got a 19-year-old pregnant. So timeline. Has fight and moves out. 1 year and 1 month prior to update. Let's assume starts that candle business 1 month later. Becomes financial stable from said candle business. 89 months prior to update. So in 89 months she completed a contentious divorce and got full custody. That's pretty expedited. He said no. I admit I laughed at that. Dude was confused about his veto power. What kind of niche candles is she making?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AITA is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.